So you haven't had enough, eh? You want more of this? Or maybe more of this? And we definitely want more of this. For all aura farmers alike, this is Season 3 of Solo Leveling. Enjoy. Episode 1. The Ahjin Guild. We pick up right after that emotional funeral scene from the last episode of Season 2. Our boy Jin-Woo is in a parking lot, minding his business next to a silver van when some random suit approaches him. "Are you Mr. Sung Jin-Woo?" The man asks with that typical government agent energy. Jin-Woo, being the calculated badass he is, just gives this foreigner a cautious once-over. "Good afternoon, Sung Jin-Woo Hunter-nim," the guy says with practiced politeness while handing over a business card. "I'm Special Agent Adam White, Hunter Management Bureau, United States of America." Jin-Woo takes the card, his mind processing this new information. Hunter Management Bureau, he thinks to himself, completely unfamiliar with whatever government alphabet soup this is. "You can call me Adam, please. I went to look for you at your office, but it's very hard to find you. I hope you can understand why I had to track you down at a place like this." Jin-Woo's memory clicks as he realizes he came to the office too? Now that I think about it, Jin-Ho said something about a foreigner. Jin-Woo, never one to waste time, goes straight to the point. "And your business with me is?" "I have information I would like to pass to you," Adam replies with that smug little smile agents always have. Adam trying to act all diplomatic. Probably no other country on Earth or organization has this information, except us, that is. Jin-Woo, sensing the cap, asks, "And your reason for passing on such information to me is?" Adam explains with that smooth government talk. "We stand to benefit in some way merely by passing information to a certain group of special people. I had planned to meet with you by myself, but as the Jeju raid had left such a strong impression, our deputy director himself wishes to meet with you in person. Exceptional circumstances, as you must understand. The rest, our deputy director can fill you in," Adam continues, gesturing. "We have a car waiting nearby. Would you like to meet the deputy director?" Jin-Woo considers this offer carefully, thinking, "Information, huh? I'm not sure if I can trust this information you speak of." He responds with peak unbothered energy. "I'll consider it and be in touch." Adam realizes he needs to play his hand or lose Jin-Woo's interest. "In negotiation, you shouldn't hide your trump card," he states with calculated confidence. And then he drops it. "Upgrader. Are you aware there is an awakened who can elevate the abilities of the awakened? And that, my friends, is how you get Sung Jin-Woo's attention." Jin-Woo's eyes widen just slightly because even when he's shocked, he's still cooler than all of us combined. Cut to this ornate building, where Jin-Woo is ushered into a lavishly decorated meeting room to meet Michael Connor, the deputy director who's about to learn what built different really means. "Nice to meet you." Michael extends his hand. Hunter Management Bureau Deputy Director, Michael Connor. After introductions and with Adam White serving as interpreter, Michael's first move, sliding over a yellow folder. "This is an immigration document for America," he explains. "Ordinarily, this would be something that takes about 1 to 2 years, but not for Sung Jin-Woo Hunter-Nim, of course. 1 second. Say one word and in 1 second you can become a United States citizen." Jin-Woo's interest is piqued, but he's caught the switcheroo. "I was under the impression from what Agent Adams said that information was the only thing under consideration today." But his thoughts remain focused on what Adam had mentioned earlier. An awakened who can elevate the ability of other awakened. An upgrader. He refocuses the conversation to what he actually cares about. Is it truly possible to upgrade the abilities? That's when Michael smirks like he's got Jin-Woo hook, line, and sinker. "Actually, that person is already present here. Please have Mrs. Selner come in." Jin-Woo's eyes start glowing that ethereal blue because his Riz senses are tingling as a woman enters. Michael does his best hype man impression, the only person in the world who can help other awakeners exceed their limits. "She is Mrs. Norma Selner," he announces as this woman with dark curly hair wearing a light-colored suit, patterned blouse, and wide-brimmed hat walks in like she's the main event. And Jin-Woo, being the aura king he is, notices immediately that she does have a different atmosphere than other awakeners. Michael directs Mrs. Selner to explain her ability to Jin-Woo, But seeing his skeptical look, she jumps in. You can't believe it, don't you? All the other hunters had your eyes at first. Then she drops this confidence bomb. But once you experience it, you'll have no choice but to cling on to it. Mrs. Sellner explains how all awakeners have a limit they can't exceed without some divine intervention. It's basic knowledge for a hunter. She continues with absolute certainty. Yes, I have the ability to help others go past that limit. I can raise it by helping them go through 3 stages. But I'm not certain on whether I should call it reawakening them by force or raising their potential. Meanwhile, Michael slips into full market manipulator mode. What she says is all true, but once she uses her power, she has to rest for a long time. So only a few awakeners can be chosen each year to earn the benefits. Jin-Woo processes this with calculated interest. I'm one of the few people. Moreover, if it's true, it's an amazing ability. He asks the million-dollar question, then how efficient is it? It depends on the person, Mrs. Sellner responds, but once they finish the 3rd stage, they can feel at least 20% or maybe up to 30% stronger. Jin-Woo's is mind blown. 20% to 30%? No way. His thoughts continue. I understand why Hunter Wang Dong-soo decided to move to America despite all the criticism from the country. Who can refuse? All the other hunters will fall for it too. It's literally pay to win, but in real life. That's so America to commercialize even supernatural abilities. Michael explains they keep Mrs. Sellner's ability secret for her protection. That's why Mrs. Sellner is with us. We take responsibility for her safety and pay her a reasonable amount, and Mrs. Sellner helps the hunters we select reach a higher level. This is the gift that we can give to you. Jin-Woo sees through this immediately. A gift? Isn't it more like a deal than a gift? Michael lays out the terms. If you become a hunter of the United States, we will make sure that you will be the first to earn the benefits. Also, in order to create a deal with the best of conditions, we can make an arrangement with a guild of your choice. But then they hit Jin-Woo with the bait. There's no need to rush, Michael adds smoothly. We came to help you open up the first button for today. Jin-Woo's shocked. What? We told you, right? It's a gift, Mrs. Sellner confirms with a slight smile. Michael reinforces, she's right. Do you agree with unlocking your potential? Jin-Woo, still processing this suspiciously generous offer, without a cost? Just consider this as a service, Mr. Hunter, Michael assures him, probably thinking he's slick. Jin-Woo remembers Mrs. Sellner's earlier confidence. Didn't she say that I won't be able to let go once I experience it? It must mean that she's confident in her ability. Mrs. Sellner begins her process. Look into my eyes, closely. She reaches out and gently takes Jin-Woo's hand in hers. That's the first step. Michael watches with satisfaction, thinking, good, he fell for it. He's been maintaining his cool, but once he goes through the first stage, he will contact us again. Green energy emanates from Mrs. Sellner's hand and flows into Jin-Woo as his eyes glow intensely. Michael's still scheming in his head. No, if he's impatient, he might sign the contract right away. The Jeju Island raid that Ryuji Goto, the man aiming for the national level, failed, was easily cleared by using an unheard-of ability. I wonder where his limit lies. Michael ponders, completely unaware he's about to find out why we renamed him to Sung Jin-Woo. The room darkens as Mrs. Sellner exerts her power, her eyes glowing as she attempts to probe. But what happens next? She finds herself surrounded by darkness, and from that darkness a piercing gaze appears. Suddenly a blood-curdling scream fills the room. The other individuals in the room are thrown back by a powerful, unseen force. The bodyguards immediately point guns at Jin-Woo, like that would do anything against the literal king of drip and darkness. You bastard, what did you do to Mrs. Sellner? One guard shouts, clearly not understanding who he's dealing with. Michael freaks out. Stop! Are you guys out of your mind? Don't you know who the person in front of you is? You morons, Michael continues, his face red with anger. If you're worried about Mrs. Sellner, just go take care of her. He quickly apologizes to Jin-Woo. I'm sorry, Mr. Hunter. Our agents were acting impolite. Jin-Woo, completely unbothered by having guns pointed at him, still processing what just happened, simply responds, it's fine. Because when you're Sung Jin-Woo, people pointing guns at you is Tuesday. Michael warns his men. If something like this happened in front of Thomas Andre or Liu Zisheng, we would all be dead right now. Keep that in mind. The guards, finally realizing they almost caught those hands, quickly respond, "Yes." Michael turns to Mrs. Selner, who's visibly trembling and covered in sweat. "Mrs. Selner, what's wrong? You're sweating profusely. Are you feeling ill?" Seeing her distress, Michael suggests, "It seems that Mrs. Selner isn't feeling well today. Can we contact you another time?" Jin-Woo simply responds, "Yes, because why waste words when you've just flexed your power without even trying?" Michael instructs Adam to escort Jin-Woo home, and once our leveling addict is gone, he asks Mrs. Selner privately, "Mrs. Selner, what happened?" With trembling hands and wide, frightened eyes, her response is absolutely chilling. He is a king, and a very powerful one." Michael's mind races with implications. Then, does that mean that he's about the same level as the national level hunters? "No, I'm not sure," Mrs. Selner clarifies, still visibly shaken. "I've never experienced this before. He is a king, but he's different than the others." Her voice drops to a whisper as she describes what she saw. "When I looked into him, he was also looking back at me. It wasn't Hunter Sung Jin-Woo, but rather, it was the endless darkness inside him. It was looking at me." And her final assessment leaves Michael stunned. He does not have a limit. This was the important skipped content from Season 2. Now we return to the present, to Season 3 exclusive content. We find ourselves in this mysterious gate, and some poor terrified man is straight up panicking. He's facing this dark, ominous figure that's radiating pure intimidation. "You? What are you?" The man stutters, practically shaking. The mysterious figure doesn't even bother answering his actual question. He's not the one either. They're hiding cleverly, aren't they? The fragments of brilliant light. Suddenly, the mysterious person notices something behind him. As he turns around, another major player enters the chat, Yogamont. He comes with news. "I'm here to deliver information about the territory in the east." The still unknown figure immediately notes a small problem. "If you mean the small territory in the east, it's where the Shadow Monarch is. Didn't you say you'd take care of that place?" Continuing while fishing for info. Yogamont lays out the part of the plan. "It seems like the rulers are going to release Legia south of there. I'll take that place." The mysterious man, being no NPC himself, immediately clocks the potential problem. "How are you planning to deal with the Shadow Monarch, who is also there?" Yogamont, adding more Pisces to the pitzel, responds, "There won't be a problem as long as the architect fulfills its role." And then the bombshell. The greatest fragment of brilliant light has been confirmed in that place as well. Hearing this, the mysterious person's mad interested now. "To come here to tell me that?" Yogamont flips it. "What will you do about it?" The mysterious man, without missing a beat, "If you are willing to yield that to me, then by all means." But wait, the vibes shift. During their conversation, the mysterious dude suddenly notices something's off. "It looks like we were being lured here." And that's when he shows up. A third figure approaches them, and this presence is different. A guy like that couldn't possibly have a fragment of brilliant light. I wondered why he left a trace. Yogamont adds dismissively, "He plans to get in our way." The third figure, with rage burning in his eyes, asks about the small island to the east, and then clarifies with intensity, "Are you referring to Korea?" Now the first mysterious guy is revealed to be the Monarch of Frost, and he asks, "Why is it of any interest to you?" From behind, Yogamont says with arrogance, "We do not have time to deal with him." As they begin to leave, the Frost Monarch taunts over his shoulder, "Try and stop us if you can." The third figure is not having it. He charges forward with determination. "I won't let you escape." The Frost Monarch blocks the attack effortlessly with his surprise, ice shield. A smug grin spreading across his face as he prepares to counter. A massive explosion erupts, bathing the entire area in destructive energy. Now we switch to the real MVP of solo leveling. We find Sung Jin-Woo in a completely different location, aura farming a dungeon boss. The creature spots Jin-Woo and asks if he's the one who's been killing his people. "I'm impressed you managed to reach this far with such a small body," the beast taunts, looking down at Jin-Woo. "But this is where it ends." The creature shouts confidently, "My comrades are already lying in wait. Come out!" Expecting his hidden minions to ambush our boy, but nothing happens. The creature is shook. eyes darting around, wondering why his minion's ghosting him all of a sudden. And there stands Sung Jin-Woo, calm as ever, an absolute unit. Called me small now? That's funny, he says, the disrespect immaculate. Jin-Woo pulls a reverse. He gives the signal and suddenly, shadow soldiers start emerging from the forest. The place fills up with his army and they're carrying the heads of the creature's defeated minions. As his soldiers emerge, Jin-Woo taunts with ice-cold confidence. Seems like no one is left. The creature is completely lost, utterly bewildered, when smack, something hits him right in the face. He checks what hit him. It's another one of his dead minions. The boss looks toward Jin-Woo, who's standing alongside his massive shadow army. The creature starts panicking, realizing the situation he's in. You bastard! Jin-Woo, cool as ever, simply tells his soldiers, unalive them all. Both sides charge toward each other, but this fight is not even close. Jin-Woo's shadow soldiers are far superior. They're taking out enemies without any issue. Meanwhile, our boy Jin-Woo is casually strolling toward the boss while Tank clears the path ahead. Seeing this, the boss gets furious and charges at Jin-Woo. But before he can even touch Jin-Woo, Beru and Igris step in. Beru slices off one of its arms while Igris chops a leg clean off. The creature crashes to the ground, and who shows up next? Tusk, towering over the fallen beast, using reverse gravity to pin it down like it's nothing. Jin-Woo approaches the helpless creature, standing over it like the absolute king he is. Answer my questions. It will be less painful for you if you do. After the interrogation, Jin-Woo stands before the creature's lifeless body, thinking, it must be the system interfering again. He couldn't get any important info from the boss. Anyways, it should be fine. I'll learn everything with time, he says, opening his inventory. He pulls out a key, the one from the cursed random box. Jin-Woo reflects, I reached level 100 at the Jeju Island raid and met the minimum requirements to unlock the dungeon. He looks at the key and sees its description. It's the key to the Kartanon Temple, with a timer showing how much time remains before he can enter. Once the time runs out, the key would expire. While reading the description, Jin-Woo gets flashbacks of the dungeon from his past, the place where it all started. The system is calling him back to where it all began. Things have changed now. Our aura farmer has grown much stronger compared to last time. Was it all planned from the beginning, he wonders. Is it waiting for my return? With absolute conviction in his voice, if that's the case, then wait for me. The scene shifts to show a mysterious entity, the smiling statue, sitting inside the dungeon, smirking as if it hears Jin-Woo's declaration. I'm coming. Now we switch to Jin-Ho, furiously typing away, defending his master's honor online. These damn trolls, Jin-Ho shouts, his dedication to Jin-Woo's reputation absolutely unmatched. I won't forgive anyone who slanders Hyung Nim. Crying after you get sued won't help you. This man is out here fighting for Jin-Woo's reputation in the trenches of internet comments. If that ain't loyalty, I don't know what is. After successfully owning haters, Jin-Ho leans back in his chair with a satisfied sigh. Another one. I dealt with another group slandering Hyung Nim. But his moment of peace is immediately shattered when a voice appears behind him. You've been working hard. Jin-Ho nearly jumps out of his skin as he whirls around to find Sung Jin-Woo just casually standing there. Hyung Nim, Jin-Ho stammers, completely caught off guard. In his mind, Jin-Ho thinks he just comes and goes without a sound. Did anything happen? Jin-Woo asks, cool as ever. No, Hyung Nim, Jin-Ho replies. But why do you look like that? I just got out of a gate. Then, like it's nothing, he hands Jin-Ho a bag. You said we needed some money to establish the guild. Jin-Ho's eyes practically pop out of his head when he sees what's inside. Aren't these greater magic cores? He asks, completely stunned. Did you clear a high-ranked gate? Jin-Woo, in the most casual flex ever, just nods calmly. You're incredible, Hyung Nim, Jin-Ho exclaims, absolutely fanboying. With this, we won't have to worry about paying the employees' salary. Jin-Woo, confused, asks, employees? Don't you remember? Jin-Ho explains. We need one more founding member. We need 3 guild members, right? Guild master, vice guild master, and a 3rd member. He then expresses his desire for a diligent 3rd member, even if they're just there to fill a quota. There's one more urgent matter to take care of, Jin-Ho says with slight frustration. Have you decided on a guild name? Jin-Woo's expression turns sheepish. Ah, I thought it was important. What follows is a comedy of epic proportions as they debate potential guild names. Jin-Ho suggests combinations of their surnames, Sung Yu Guild or Yu Sung Guild, while also considering more creative options like Woo-Ho Guild or Solo-In Guild. Then Jin-Woo drops his masterpiece suggestion, how about Solo Play Guild? Huh? Jin-Ho's face contorts in barely concealed horror. Jin-Woo, completely oblivious to how sus that name sounds, continues, our guild is based on hunting solo anyways. Jin-Ho, trying not to cringe out of existence, thinks to himself, was that supposed to be funny? I guess there's something young Nim is bad at too. He is human after all. But before Jin-Ho can save them from this naming catastrophe, they're interrupted by a knock at the door. Who is it? Jin-Ho calls out. A feminine voice responds from the other side. Is this Hunter Sung Jin-Woo's guild office? It is, but who? Jin-Ho begins as he opens the door, his words trailing off as he recognizes their visitor. Hunter Cha Hae-In! Jin-Ho exclaims, completely shook. That's right, folks, the Cha Hae-In S-rank hunter extraordinaire, the blonde-haired beauty in her white blouse with black trim, is standing in their doorway, looking like she's about to drop the biggest bombshell of the century. Why are you here, Hunter Cha? Jin-Woo asks, equally surprised by her sudden appearance. That, she begins, hesitating slightly before finding her resolve. I want to join your guild. The statement hangs in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Even Jin-Woo's eyes narrow with suspicion because he knows this is major. Cha Hae-In is one of Korea's most powerful S-rank hunters, and her changing allegiance would shake up the entire hunter world, especially after Japan lost 7 S-rank hunters during the Jeju Island raid. But our boy Jin-Woo isn't some NPC who gets excited just because a pretty S-rank shows up. He's calculating the political chess moves already. Could you clarify? He asks, his tone measured but cautious. Like I said, your guild. I want to join it, Cha Hae-In repeats more confidently this time. Jin-Woo's mind is racing with possibilities. What's going on? He mutters, then directly asks, did the association chairman ask you to by any chance? Huh? Why would he? She responds, genuinely confused. Or did Hunter Choi Jong-in kick you out of his guild? No. Then what is it? Jin-Woo presses, his suspicion growing. Why would you want to join our solo play guild? Still oblivious to how cringe that name sounds, Cha Hae-In's eyes widen in shock. The name is Solo Play? Her expression briefly reveals her thoughts about how absolutely wild that name is, though she quickly composes herself, too polite to say it out loud. Young Nim, Jin-Ho interjects frantically. What do you mean Solo Play Guild? Don't tell me it's already been decided. What about my suggestions? You didn't say anything, so I thought you agreed, Jin-Woo responds with a shrug. Jin-Woo tries to refocus. My judgment's being clouded because this situation is confusing me. He studies Cha Hae-In carefully, his heightened senses picking up all the subtle signs of her nervousness, her quickened heartbeat, her controlled breathing, the tension in her expression. She's trying to act calm, but our boy can see through everything. Why would she be doing all this to join our solo play guild? He wonders silently. Hunter Cha, he says aloud, it hasn't even been 2 years since your awakening. Aren't you still under contract with the hunters? I have the money to pay the contract breach penalty, she answers without hesitation. This revelation only deepens Jin-Woo's suspicion. She's even willing to pay the penalty to join us? Our guild doesn't have the resources to properly compensate a hunter of your caliber, Jin-Woo cautions. No, that doesn't matter, Cha Hae-In says firmly. I don't need the signing bonus either. Jin-Woo's eyes narrow further. Why are you going to such lengths to join our guild? There's nothing for you to gain here. Cha Hae turns serious as if she's in an inner conflict. How can I explain, she begins before stopping herself. No. Behind her composed exterior, Cha Hae-In's mind is a whirlwind of memories and emotions she can't possibly explain to Jin-Woo. Her inner thoughts start with monologue. At first, it was just. Her mind flashed back to that fateful encounter in the gate, Jin-Woo disguised as a simple miner, her passing by, and then that sudden, electric shock. Why? Because this man was the first hunter she'd ever encountered who didn't carry that revolting scent that had plagued her existence since awakening. Another memory surfaced. Cha Hae-In in her apartment that night, phone clutched to her ear, desperately hunting for information about this anomaly who'd slipped past her defenses with nothing but his natural aroma. Her obsession was real from day one. If she had Jin-Woo's number, she'd have been blowing up his phone with, "What you doing? You up?" text at 4 a.m. The memories cascaded through her mind like a waterfall, her growing fascination with his abilities, watching from afar while others remained blind to what was becoming increasingly obvious to her alone. Not just a top-tier fighter, but he can use summon magic too, she had thought, her admiration blooming with each revelation, especially after witnessing him solo an A-rank gate like it was nothing. Then came his re-evaluation, confirming what she already knew. This man was rebuilt different. When the media swarmed after the Lee Min-sung incident, she defended him silently. In reality, he's not even a bad person. Her thoughts from those days echo in her mind, even when I tell myself not to worry about it, even when I think I don't have the time to. But the memory that truly, irrevocably changed everything. The Jeju Island raid. He was the only light in this dark world, she thinks, remembering the terrifying aura of the Ant King materializing before her. I was afraid, nervous. Blood, pain, darkness creeping in. And even though I might die, flashes of her brutal beating that nearly claimed her life seared through her mind. The helplessness as she fought merely to steal a few more precious breaths despite knowing it was futile. But only one person had stood between her and oblivion that day. And now, only one person could make her feel safe. Safe enough to actually escape these nightmare memories. Then comes the scene of her awakening on the helicopter, Chairman Go Gun-hee's concerned face hovering above her. And what was her first conscious thought? Not about her injuries or survival, but an urgent question. Did Sung Jin-Woo come? The chairman's simple nod sent waves of relief through her battered body. As I thought, it wasn't a dream. But the shadow of mortality never quite left her. Staring death in the face changes you, makes you re-evaluate everything. Life's importance, its fragility, and how to move forward when you've been given a second chance. Now, standing before Jin-Woo, her most vulnerable thoughts threatened to spill out. What should I do? I can't say it. How do I tell him? The truth burned within her, too raw and intense to voice aloud. If, in the event that, there's a situation where I can't avoid death. Her cheeks flushed crimson with the words her heart screamed, but her lips couldn't form. I hope you'll be by my side until the end. This S-rank hunter, one of the most powerful in all of Korea, is standing here simping in real time, and Jin-Woo's completely missing it. We're witnessing a woman who's never needed protection from anyone, literally hoping this man will be there to protect her. The Riz demon Jin-Woo has is operating completely on autopilot. While Cha Hae-In is over here having a whole romantic drama playing in her head, Jin-Woo is still completely misreading the situation. What is she planning? He thinks. Is there something she can't tell me? Why can't she answer me? Seeing her blush, I can tell she's hiding something. Our boy continues his oblivious brainstorm. I don't know what she's hiding, but she might have planned this a long time ago. The fact that Jin-Woo, with all his enhanced senses and battle genius, can't recognize a woman catching feelings is absolutely sending me. This man can sense a monster from miles away, but is completely blind to the S-rank simp right in front of him. Addressing Cha Hae-In directly, he presses, "Will you not answer me?" Comfortably. Cha Hae answers softly, "I want to live comfortably. Am I not allowed to?" Jin-Ho, still shocked by her answer, whispers to Jin-Woo, "Young Nim, imagine how hard hunters must have pushed her to say that." "No, that's not it," Jin-Woo responds, seeing through her excuse with those king senses. Jin-Woo turns back to Cha Hae-In with a serious expression. "There's actually an entrance test for our guild." After a brief internal debate weighing her situation, Jin-Woo makes a decision. "Jin-Ho," he calls to his vice guild master, "go down and buy some drinks and snacks for our guest." "Yes," Jin-Ho responds eagerly, glad for an excuse to escape the tension in the room. Cha Hae-In looks surprised. What kind of test is it? Jin-Woo wonders to himself, is this sincerity or just pride? Jin-Woo's response is direct and absolutely cold. "It's to beat a summoning of my choosing." Cha Hae-In looks slightly offended. "Hunter Sung Jin-Woo, is your evaluation of me that low?" then asks which summon it will be. Jin-Woo's expression turns serious, his eyes glinting with that ethereal blue as he delivers the line of the century. For you, Hunter Cha, I will pick the strongest. A beat of silence passes between them before Cha Hae-In responds with quiet determination. Good. The tension in Jin-Woo's office is thick. Cha Hae-In, looking all composed and stuff, breaks the silence. When's the test? Cha Hae-In asks, trying to keep her voice steady despite being in the presence of Sung Jin-Woo. And Jin-Woo? He just locks eyes with her like the Sigma he is and goes, "Let's do it now. How about the association's gymnasium? Smart choice, the same spacious facility where S-rank hunters prepared for the Jeju Island raid. Jin-Woo is making sure they have plenty of room for what's about to go down. He's not just powerful, he's tactical." Cha Hae-In nods and starts heading for the door when he hits her with, "You don't have to leave that way." She turns back, confusion written all over her face. "Huh? There's an easier way to get there. We'll have to stick together though, is that okay?" He grabs her by the shoulder, and before she can even process what's happening, boom! Shadow exchange activated. The darkness swirls around them and they vanish. Nice. My man's real slick with it. Meanwhile, back at the office, poor Jin-Ho returns with an armful of drinks and snacks, all proud of himself. "You two, you should have something to eat while you talk," he announces cheerfully as he steps through the doorway. But instead of finding Jin-Woo and Cha Hae-In, he's greeted by one of Jin-Woo's shadow soldiers, a hulking orc just chilling in the middle of the room. The orc takes one look at Jin-Ho's plate of sweets and decides, that's his now. Before Jin-Ho can even react, this massive shadow creature lumbers forward and snatches the entire plate, devouring everything, sweets, ceramic plate and all, in one gulp. Cut to the gymnasium, where Cha Hae-In's trying to figure out how they teleported, blinking rapidly, adjusting to the sudden change in surroundings. The massive space around them is completely empty, with reinforced walls designed to withstand S-rank hunter battles. "We're here. How?" she asks, still disoriented by their instant travel. A satisfied smile crosses Jin-Woo's face. "As I thought, I was right." He then drops some knowledge about his shadow exchange skill, describing it as similar to a gate that lets him swap places with any of his shadows regardless of distance. The cooldown period might be significant, but the tactical advantages? Immense. Jin-Woo casually explaining his god-tier abilities like he's talking about the weather is such a vibe. As they prepare for the test, Cha Hae-In suddenly realizes something. "Now that I think about it, I left my weapon." "Ah, that pickaxe?" Jin-Woo asks with a hint of amusement in his voice, referencing the unconventional weapon he'd seen her use before. Her face goes red instantly. "No, my weapon is—" "I'm just joking," he cuts her off. "And I'm living for these rare moments when Jin-Woo shows personality." Cha Hae-In composes herself quickly. "It's okay. There should be a decent weapon to borrow in the storage." They head to the gymnasium's equipment room, where Cha Hae-In selects a standard sword. Nothing fancy compared to her usual gear, but she's not worried. "It doesn't matter what weapon I use," she remarks confidently. "It's not like monsters fight on our terms either." Little does she know, Jin-Woo is about to put that statement to the test. With preparations complete, they return to the center of the gymnasium. Jin-Woo takes position across from Cha Hae-In, looking relaxed yet alert, a predator ready to pounce. "If I had to guess, a normal shadow soldier would get torn apart in seconds," Jin-Woo thinks, already assessing her capabilities before he's even summoned anything. "Igris," Jin-Woo calls out, his voice echoing through the gymnasium, and from Jin-Woo's shadow emerges the goat swordsman. Igris, the knight-like shadow warrior with an imposing presence, materializing fully from the darkness. His red cape billowing dramatically like he's about to drop the hottest album of 25. "He's the best swordsman among my soldiers," Jin-Woo explains, watching Cha Hae-In's reaction carefully. She regards the Shadow Knight with intense focus. "How do we decide the match?" she asks, gripping her borrowed sword. Jin-Woo's expression turns serious. "You'll fight until my summon is destroyed, or until Hunter Cha surrenders." "I told Hunter Cha I'd use my strongest summon, but," Jin-Woo thinks to himself, "fighting Beru would be traumatic." As Cha Hae-In's aura begins to glow, a radiant light surrounding her as she takes her stance, Jin-Woo realizes this might be more interesting than he thought. Wait, she said weapons don't matter? Jin-Woo thinks, his eyes widening slightly after his new cheeky idea. Then he tells Cha Hae-In to turn around and without hesitation, reaches into his inventory and pulls out the literal Demon King's longsword that shoots lightning storms out of its ass and gives it to Igris. It's like saying, yes, you can join my guild. As a shadow soldier, that is. Now we see the Demon King's longsword specs. Rank S, type longsword, attack plus 350. This longsword possesses the strength of the Demon King Baron. Each swing of this sword activates Storm of White Lightning. Effect: Storm of White Lightning summons a storm of endless lightning within the designated area. Begin, Jin-Woo commands. Igris strides forward with measured steps, the Demon King's longsword glowing ominously. Without warning, he swings the massive blade in a devastating arc. White lightning erupts from the sword's edge, crackling through the air and tearing up the floor in its path. Cha Hae-In darts to the side with incredible speed, narrowly avoiding the lightning strike. The floor of the gymnasium cracks and splinters where she stood just moments before. A normal person would have died even if he just grazed them, Jin-Woo thinks, impressed by her reflexes. With graceful precision, Cha Hae-In leaps into the air, bringing her sword down toward Igris's head. The Shadow Knight raises his weapon to block, and their blades clash with tremendous force, sending shockwaves through the gymnasium. Meanwhile, in his office at the Hunter Association headquarters, Chairman Go Gun-hee notices lights on in the gymnasium. There shouldn't be any gym reservations today, he thinks, before calling his secretary. Yes, Mr. President. The secretary confirms after checking the schedule. Could you direct the gymnasium camera feed into my room? Chairman Go requests, his curiosity piqued. Yes, sir. The feed appears on his screen, showing Sung Jin-Woo and Cha Hae-In materializing in the gymnasium through shadow exchange. When did those two? He murmurs to himself, a memory flashing through his mind of Cha Hae-In waking up after her injuries from the Jeju Island raid, asking about Jin-Woo. The chairman's lips curl into a smile. I see. I didn't realize. He gestures to his secretary. Turn off the camera feed. Just as the secretary complies, a powerful tremor shakes his office, rattling the furniture and sending papers flying. Chairman Go chuckles. As expected, it's good to be young, he comments with a wry smile, completely misinterpreting what's happening in the gymnasium. Even the chairman thinks Jin-Woo's out here making earthquakes of a different kind. The man's reputation is so powerful that even misunderstandings make him sound like a legend. Back in the gymnasium, Sung Jin-Woo stands with a shocked expression on his face. His eyes are wide, mouth speechless in disbelief as he stares at the scene before him. Why? Because Igris, his elite Shadow Knight, is slammed against the far wall, absolutely wrecked. Concrete raining down around his crumpled form. Cha Hae-In turns to Jin-Woo, her breathing barely elevated despite the intensity of the battle. Her borrowed sword gleams in the gymnasium lights as she regards him with determined eyes. Was that really your strongest summon? She asks with audacity. Please summon him. The confidence. She ain't even sweating and wants more smoke. Jin-Woo's eyebrows raise in surprise. You might get hurt, he cautions, still looking out for her safety even after she just owned one of his strongest shadows. It's fine, she responds with unwavering resolve. I wanted to fight him again. Jin-Woo, surprised that she knew and understood immediately. Cha Hae-In wants to face Beru, the Shadow Ant King who had defeated her during the Jeju Island raid. The creature that had nearly ended her life before Jin-Woo saved her. This woman is seeking redemption, and of course only Jin-Woo can provide the opportunity. Beru. From Jin-Woo's shadow, a massive menacing form begins to emerge. Will you really be okay? Jin-Woo asks quietly as the ominous shadow of the Ant King looms behind him, towering over them both. Beru's insectoid features are twisted with malice, aura literally dancing around his shadowy form as he materializes. This isn't just a summon, this is a walking apocalypse answering to one man. Cha Hae-In's eyes widen at the sight of her worst nightmare, the very creature that nearly sent her to the Shadow Realm during the Jeju raid. But despite the fear in her expression, she grips that borrowed sword like her life depends on it. I'll ask again, Jin-Woo says, his voice carrying actual concern because he's not just powerful, he's considerate. Will you really be okay? Beru's voice cuts through the air like a chainsaw through butter, deep, guttural, and absolutely dripping with power. His words appear in these black speech bubbles, showing he's built different from the other shadows. "My liege, what shall I do with this person?" Beru asks, his claws twitching with barely restrained let-me-at-him energy. Jin-Woo's expression remains stern as he lays down the law. Defeat her without harming her. "Yes, my liege." Without a single warning, Beru unleashes an aura so powerful it literally explodes outward, shattering every light and window in the gymnasium. Darkness engulfs everything, only illuminated by the crackling blue energy coming from Beru. The floor beneath them cracks under the pressure of his power. Cha Hae-In steps back, completely stunned by this raw power display. Her mind racing. Sung Jin-Woo fought against this? That's right, Queen. Jin-Woo not only fought this monster, he bodied him so hard, it became his bitch, addressing him only as my liege. Beru extends his massive claws, flexing on her with their deadly sharpness as he prepares to throw hands. Or claws, I guess. Jin-Woo narrows his eyes and speaks directly into Beru's mind because of course he can do telepathy too. "Put those away," he commands. "If you harm her, I will never summon you again." Beru's face goes from terrifying to goofy real quick. Eyes wide, posture straightening, claws retracting with a quickness. Man's looking like a scolded puppy. "Yes, my liege," Beru responds, his tone completely subdued. Cha Hae-In notices this momentary distraction and thinks, an opening. Now's my chance. But as she moves, Beru straight up vanishes from her sight, reappearing behind her with speed that would make Flash retire in shame. "This, the same as last time," Cha Hae-In gasps, whirling around to face the threat. She swings her sword in a wide arc, but Beru catches the blade effortlessly between three of his claw-like fingers, holding it in place like it's a plastic toy from the dollar store. "My liege has one command," Beru thinks to himself. "Defeat the enemy without harming her." The Shadow Ant King's strategy? Make her lose her fighting spirit by demonstrating an overwhelming difference in power. Cha Hae-In pulls her sword free and launches into this lightning-fast sequence of strikes. Her blade becomes an actual blur as she attacks from every possible angle, each strike perfectly targeted at Beru's vital points. Yet this shadow soldier dodges every single attack. With minimal movement, he's shifting slightly each time to avoid contact, making her S-rank speed look like slow motion. Then in a flash, Beru appears directly in her face, his nightmare-fuel visage inches from hers. His mandibles open wide as he releases a roar that would make death metal vocalists jealous. The force of this scream creates a literal shockwave that sends Cha Hae-In sliding backward across the floor. The sound vibrates through her entire body, temporarily paralyzing her with its intensity. Jin-Woo watches with those analytical eyes, thinking, "Looks like the winner has been decided." He asks Cha Hae-In aloud, "Are you satisfied?" fully expecting her to throw in the towel. But this S-rank hunter isn't going down that easy. She straightens her posture and tightens her grip on the sword. "Not yet. I can keep going." Jin-Woo's eyebrows raise slightly in surprise. What is she thinking? I didn't think she'd be reckless enough to keep fighting after realizing the power difference. As he watches Cha Hae-In prepare for round 2, Jin-Woo reflects on Beru's unique nature. Beru is different from the other shadow soldiers. Even with his intellect, his innate nature is to be a murder weapon. Right now, I can feel him suppressing his overwhelming killing intent. Meanwhile, Beru's thoughts are getting dark as he watches Cha Hae-In refuse to back down. "You dare," his mind seethes. Living organisms can recognize whether they are predators or prey at a single glance. Prey resisting predators is unacceptable. Something shifts in Beru's demeanor, something ancient and instinctual. Despite Jin-Woo's earlier command, he extends those claws again, his restraint cracking under the weight of primal rage. Beru lunges forward with speed that would make Light jealous, his claws slicing through the air toward Cha Hae-In. She dodges at the literal last possible microsecond, those deadly appendages missing her by about the width of a credit card. Cha Hae-In's sword begins glowing with this brilliant blue energy as she channels her mana into the blade. "Sword dance," she whispers, activating one of her most powerful techniques. The gymnasium fills with light as she executes a series of impossibly fast slashes. Her movements are both graceful and devastating, showing exactly why they call her the dancer. But when her glowing blade collides with Beru's claws, we hear this terrible cracking sound. The borrowed sword shatters on impact, steel fragments flying everywhere. Does this stop our girl? Absolutely not. Using just the remaining hilt and her last mana reserves, she executes another skill. Blade of Light that drives what's left of her weapon directly into Beru's chest. The hit actually connects, piercing through Beru's shadowy form. For a moment, everything freezes, then Beru's eyes begin glowing with this terrifying crimson light. A single primal command surfaces from Beru's consciousness, the command he received from his Ant Queen when he was born, a forgotten directive resurfacing as natural instinct that simply cannot be ignored. Exterminate the enemy. All restraint? Gone. Bloodlust? Maximum. He draws back both claws, charging them with energy for what would be a fatal strike. Stop. Jin-Woo's voice slices through the chaos like a hot knife through butter. Cha Hae-In closes her eyes instinctively, bracing for an impact that never comes. When she opens them again, she finds Jin-Woo standing protectively in front of her, having moved faster than even an S-rank could track. Jin-Woo has caught one of Beru's massive claws with his bare hand, while his foot pins down the other claw against the floor. His eyes are glowing with power as he stares down his shadow soldier. I ordered you to stop, his voice colder than Antarctica. His mental command reverberating through Beru's entire being. The bloodlust in Beru's eyes immediately disappears, replaced by what clearly looks like shame. The Shadow Ant King drops to his knees, bowing his head in absolute submission. My liege, have mercy. This, my friends, is why Jin-Woo is the undisputed king. He just stopped a rampaging monster that could kill S-ranks with a single word and a glare. As the immediate danger passes, Jin-Woo turns to Cha Hae-In with a mixture of concern and exasperation. Why are you overdoing it? There's no need to go so far to join our guild. She doesn't respond, just stands there catching her breath. It was only a test. He continues, an entrance test for a nameless guild. It's not worth someone like you risking your life for. So why are you going so far? Cha Hae-In lowers her head, still silent, looking intensely at the ground like it's the most interesting thing she's ever seen. Are you just going to stand there quietly again? Jin-Woo presses. Jin-Woo studies her carefully, his mind racing. What could it be? He's trying to understand her motivations like this is a puzzle to be solved. Then, in the most out-of-pocket move ever, this man just casually drops, perhaps you're interested in me? He's actually him. Man just straight up asked if she's simping. At first, Cha Hae-In doesn't react, but as his words sink in, her eyes widen to the size of dinner plates. Jin-Woo continues thinking to himself, that's not it either, what on earth is she thinking? But suddenly he notices a deep blush spreading across Cha Hae-In's cheeks, clearly caught completely off guard by his directness. Yes, she finally admits, her voice barely above a whisper. I think so. The confession hangs in the air between them, completely transforming the atmosphere from battle energy to something much more delicate. Jin-Woo's expression softens slightly, showing the faintest hint of surprise on his usually stone-cold poker face. In that moment, surrounded by the wreckage of their battle, something unspoken forms between these two S-rank hunters, a vulnerable human connection amidst all the supernatural chaos of their daily lives. Meanwhile, Beru is still kneeling there in submission, silently watching as this test turns into something neither he nor his master anticipated, a test not of strength, but of emotional honesty and a different kind of courage entirely. And that's how you get Jin-Woo to notice you, folks. Apparently all it takes is nearly getting yourself killed by his strongest shadow and then confessing your feelings in the middle of a destroyed gymnasium. Who would have thought? Man, this chapter gave us a lot. Diplomatic battles, casual Jin-Woo flexes, and deep thoughts about life and who we want to spend it with. Let's continue the aura farming together. Subscribe to the channel. Next video will be uploaded within a week. Like and comment below your thoughts on the chapter. Here are my overall thoughts, or rather questions, for this episode. Will Trump tariff Jin-Woo if he refuses to join the USA? Did Beru lose his mind and attack Cha Hae-In because he was jealous that she had boobs, and that makes her a strong competition for Jin-Woo's heart? Will the S-rank key from the cursed box be able to open his eyes and see all the baddies around him? Will Jin-Woo actually sue online haters? It's been your host, Hyping Out. Stay legendary and see you in the next one.